हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये Har Har Mahadev. Hari Om, Hari Om. Thank you for your birthday wishes. We have to now find out who is this I who is born. Is the I really born or not? So I, the Kshetrajna, the real nature of the Kshetrajna, have to be determined. So Bhagwan, in the beginning, he revealed that the Kshetra, this body is Kshetra, and the knower of this body is Kshetrajna. Then he elaborately described Kshetra in detail. This entire world is Kshetra, and the knower of this is Kshetrajna. So Kshetrajna is different from the Sukshma Sharir and Sthula Sharir also, because it knows the Sthula Sharir as well as the Sukshma Sharir. It knows this world also. So the knower has to be different from the known. So that knower remains alone, separated from the Sthula Sharir and Sukshma Sharir in Sushupti Avastha. So we have to understand the identity of that Sushupta Atma, the one who was alone there, who is called Kshetrajna, who is called Jiva, who is called Purusha, who is called Karta, Bhokta, Jnata. The identity of that Kshetrajna have to be determined with the help of the teacher and with the help of the scriptures. So that is the Neya, that is what we have to know. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyaha. In all the Vedas, Bhagavan says, I alone am the main theme. I alone should be known. The Kshetrajna itself is Ishvara, and Ishvara's Swarup has to be known. So that Bhagavan now reveals in this 12th verse. So let us chant the 12th verse again. Neyam yattat pravakshami yad jnatva amritam ashnute anadimat param brahma nasattan nasaduchyate. Bhagavan says that Neyam, that which has to be known, the Kshetra, the Swarupa of this Kshetra, Kshetrajna, that which has to be known, means my own Swarupa is to be known. So Neyam yattat pravakshami, that I will tell you, Bhagavan says. And yad jnatva amrutam ashnote, and having known this, when you know this, when you realize yourself, when you realize this Kshetrajna as Brahma, then amrutam ashnote, there is no more death for you. You become immortal. You become immortal means you are immortal. We are immortal. We recognize ourselves to be immortal. Now we experience ourselves as changing, sorrowful, limited, because I wrongly think that I am the body. So whatever the nature of this body, I assume that to be my nature. And my nature, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Anandam, that I seek in the world. My nature is Ananda, but that I think is in the body, in the world. So this misunderstanding about myself, the knower and the known, is called adhyas. Superimposing or misunderstanding my nature to be the nature of the known objects, and thinking that the nature of the object is my nature, this adhyas. So, though we know, all of us, we know that I remain absolutely separated from my sthula sharir and sukshma sharir in my deep sleep state. I exist there, untouched by the gross body as well as subtle body. I have no connection with it. Even if the body is cut or taken away, whatever is done to the body, the Kshetrajna is not affected by that. See, even when a person is operated, he goes into take him into that, give him anesthesia. It's like sleep only. Then the body is cut and the parts are removed and new parts are added and all sorts of things are done. But Kshetrajna is not affected at all, because it is absolutely different. But when we are awake, then we identify with the body, and if in the waking state, if the body is cut or something is done, then I can't bear it. Then I think it is happening to me. So the Kshetrajna has to be recognized properly. And once we recognize it, once we realize it, we gain Amrutatvam. We become free of all this illusory death. So what is that Kshetrajna? That Kshetrajna is Brahma, Param Brahma. And that Param Brahma has to be recognized. So the Kshetrajna is Anadimat. The Swarupa of the Kshetrajna is Anadimat. Anadimat means Anadi, beginningless, causeless, always there. And Param, it is Param, it is superior, supreme, beyond everything. And Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma, that word has come from the dhatu brah, means to grow or big, means that which is big, that which is infinite is called Brahma. But what exactly is its Swarupa? How to know it? Bhagavan says, na tat, na sat tan, na asat uchyate. That it is so difficult to recognize. It is beyond everything, that it cannot be indicated as existing, nor can be indicated as not existing. Na sat tad uchyate, it cannot be said to be sat. Sat means existing. And na asat, nor can it be said as asat, not existing. See, all that we know in this world, or all that is known either as sat or asat, as existing or not existing. But here, this Brahma is indicated as that which cannot be expressed as sat, means it is of this nature. It cannot be pointed out as of a particular nature. Nor can it be said that it doesn't exist. It exists. One cannot say that it doesn't exist. Na asat uchyate. It exists, but it cannot be expressed as of a particular nature. Even the scriptures point it out by negating all adjectives. Not this, not like this, not like this, not like this. Means negating all that is known, that Supreme Brahma is indicated. So Shankaracharya ji has written beautiful commentary on this. But before going through that commentary, let us contemplate a little more. Okay? Let us go back to the 7th chapter. In the 7th chapter, Bhagwan revealed his two prakritis, para prakriti and apara prakriti. See, Bhagwan is that Brahma, along with his prakriti, along which is his Shakti, is indicated as Ishvara. So Ishvara is Brahma, but Shakti Yukta. When we talk about Ishvara as the creator, he has got that power, that Shakti. That Shakti is called Prakriti. But his Prakriti is not different from Ishvara. Ishvara and Prakriti are one only. Shakti and Shaktiman are not different. They are one. But in order to help us understand, it is spoken of as though it is different. Just like sometimes we speak that, oh, I saw it with my own eyes. So I speak as though I am different, eyes are different. But at other times I say, I saw it. But sometimes we say, I saw it with my own eyes. Similarly, though Bhagwan's Prakriti is one with Ishvara, in order to teach us, he expresses his Prakriti as though different from him as my Prakriti. Bhagwan says, it's my Prakriti. Para is my Prakriti, apara is my Prakriti. It's also called Maya. He says, me, Devi Hesha Gunamahi, Mama Maya is my Maya. So through this para and apara Prakriti, Bhagwan alone appears like this world, and Bhagwan alone appears like Kshetrajna. Through his apara Prakriti, which is eightfold, the five tanmatras of Vyakta, Mahatattva and Ahankar, through his eightfold Prakriti, Ishvara alone is seen as this world. Through his eightfold Prakriti, Ishvara alone is seen as this world. The world and Ishvara are not different. That we have seen in the previous so many chapters. Bhagwan showed his Vishwaroop also. The whole Vishwa as himself. So through his apara Prakriti, Bhagwan expresses as this world, and through his para Prakriti, Bhagwan alone expresses as the Jiva, as the Kshetrajna. And what is Bhagwan's para Prakriti? Bhagwan's para Prakriti is Prana. That Prana is called para Prakriti because it is untouched by avidya, it is pure. And Bhagwan, as he is, expresses through that prana as Kshetrajna. So there is no difference between prana and Ishvara. Just like there is no difference between world and Ishvara, there is no difference between prana and Ishvara. So that through this prana, Bhagwan expresses Kshetrajna. Therefore, while talking about Kshetra, Bhagwan did not say anything about prana there. Mahabhutanyahankaraha buddhiravyaktameva cha indriyani dashekancha panchendriya gocharaha ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sangatas chetana dhratihi etak kshetramiti proktam. So all the kshetra Bhagwan indicated, etak kshetram samasena savikaram udaratam. In that he did not mention prana, because prana is not part of kshetra. Prana is not apara prakriti. Prana is para prakriti. But the expression of prana is seen by us as our breathing, circulation, digestion. These are expression of prana, not the real prana. That prana is subtle, is not seen because we are one with that prana. Now this prana is Bhagwan's Parashakti, Paraprakriti, and prana is Bhagwan's what you call Kriya Shakti also. And in the Upanishads, prana is indicated as Bhagwan's, as the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. All the work of this world, as well as all the work in all the bodies of all the jivas, happen by the power of this prana. Okay? See, I am telling all this because we have to now locate that Kshetrajna properly. Okay? So pay attention, keep listening. So Bhagwan expresses through this prana as Kshetrajna. So let us look at ourselves. When we are in the waking state, means when the mind and intellect are awake and the senses are functioning, we experience the world outside, we experience our body, we experience our senses, we experience our antakarana also. But when we go to sleep and when we dream, we get separated from we are not aware of the world outside. We are not aware of our gross physical body also. Because the world outside is seen through my senses, and the body, gross body, is also seen through my senses. So my senses are withdrawn when I am in dream. So I don't see the body, I don't see the world. But I exist, and the mind exists in the dream. And the mind, expresses all its, lot of its memories. So its memories are seen as dream. So in the dream also, the activity of the mind is taken care of the pranas only. And I see that mind. And very interesting, even when I am dreaming, means when the dream is, I am in dream, the body continues to function, means the activities of the body continues to happen. Means all those activities which are taken care of the pranas continue to function even when I am dreaming. My breathing goes on, the digestion, circulation, all these activities of the pranas, they continue to happen. But I don't know them because all knowing happens through my senses. So the senses are not functioning, so I don't know my body. But I am through this prana is seeing the dream. Okay? Now, when the mind also goes to sleep, when the antakarana goes to sleep, the scriptures, the Upanishads say that it goes into that hita nadi, means one of the nadis of these pranas, the antakarana goes to sleep. It becomes dormant, like not active. So that is called deep sleep. Pay attention now. Happy birthday and all you can say later on. So when one is in deep sleep, what happens? I am still there. The pranas are still there. The pranas continue to maintain the body. Means I continue to maintain my body through my pranas. The prana, the breathing goes on, the digestion goes on, the circulation goes on. Not only when I am asleep, but even when I am unconscious or in coma, the pranas continue to function because I am expressing through the pranas. Now be careful. When that happens, what happens? All my senses are withdrawn into my antakarana. The antakarana gets withdrawn into the pranas. And the pranas leave the body. I leave the body along with the pranas. Therefore the body falls down dead. But when I am in the body, expressing, I express through the pranas, so body is alive. So in deep sleep state, even when the mind is not functioning, I am there. I, the Kshetrajna, is present, expressing through that prana. See, we have these 5 expressions of prana, prana, apan, vyan, udan, saman. Apart from these 5, there are 5 upapranas, they are called. Like Naga and all. Naga, Kurma, Devadatta, Dhananjaya, and one more. These upapranas also, they function for our blinking of our eyes, for sneezing, for hiccups. These pranas, they function. Now, very interesting, when death happens, I leave this body along with the pranas, means the pranas leave the body. All pranas leave the body except one prana. It's called Dhananjaya. The Dhananjaya prana remains in the body even when the body falls down dead. And that Dhananjaya prana protects the body in the beginning, and then when there is no chance of the jiva coming back, then it decomposes the body. The Dhananjaya prana decomposes the body completely. So I am expressing to the pranas. So my presence is there. My presence. Who is this I? Kshetrajna. Who is the Kshetrajna? Brahma. So the presence of Brahma is understood in this body as Kshetrajna. Therefore, this Kshetrajna is also called Pratyak Atma, the inner Atma. It is also called Atma. It is experience in this body. Who experience its presence? I, the waker, experiences, I know the presence of the Kshetrajna, the innermost self. I know its presence. You please pay attention, all of you. It's a very subtle topic, but very interesting. If you can catch it, very nice. So the Kshetrajna is known only in the presence of the body. Once the body is dropped, the Kshetrajna is Brahma only, but that Brahma expresses through this body as the deep sleeper. In its pure form. But in the waking and dream, we mistake that Kshetrajna to be the thinker, to be the seer, to be the knower, to be the doer of actions. But it is not a doer, it's not a knower, it's not an enjoyer, it's a pure presence. Therefore, in deep sleep, when I am there, in that condition, there is neither knowing nor not knowing. Knowing doesn't happen because there are no equipments to know. Mind is not there, intellect is not there, senses are not there. So there is no knowing happening there. But I am of the nature of knowledge only. So there is no such thing called not knowing. There is no activity happening there. Nothing is happening there. Nothing is experienced there. So I am neither a doer, nor a knower, nor an enjoyer. I remain as pure existence. I am pure existence. Not doing anything, not knowing anything, not enjoying anything. In the waking, I seem to be enjoying, doing, knowing because of the activities of the mind and intellect and the body. But by myself, I am not doing anything. So that Kshetrajna is so very subtle, has to be recognized, is known as existing. Nobody says that I did not exist or I am not existing. All of us, we say that I exist. I know my own existence. Not only I know that I exist in my waking, I know that I existed in my dream, and I know that I existed in my deep sleep. But what is the nature of that existence is not known. It is pure existence, not doing anything, not knowing anything, not enjoying anything. Therefore here Bhagavan indicates that as na sat tan na asad uchyate. It is neither can be said as sat. See, when the Kshetrajna as the inner self, as the Pratyagatma is known to exist, I say I exist. But that is only with respect to the body I know it. But without the body, without the mind, as it is not known. Therefore in Brahma Sutra, Bhagavan talks about the Kshetrajna in the beginning of his Bhashya, only in that Adhyas Bhashya. He talks about the Kshetra as Yushmat Pratyaya Gochara. And he talks about Kshetrajna as Asmat Pratyaya Gochara. Gochara means known. Known to whom? The waker. The waker knows this world, and the waker knows the Kshetrajna also as existing. That waker is called Bahishprajna. That Bahishprajna knows Kshetra, and the Bahishprajna knows Kshetrajna as myself. I say I was there in deep sleep, but I did not know anything. But as that Bahishprajna, as a waker, I confuse the Kshetrajna, the qualities of Kshetrajna, to be the qualities of the world or the body and mind. And qualities of the body and mind, I confuse it with the qualities of Kshetrajna. This mutual confusion is called Adhyas, which has to be removed through proper thinking and contemplation and seeing our own experience that I am so much different from this gross body as well as subtle body. Okay. So here Bhagavan calls it na sat tan na asad uchyate. So now let us read some portion of Bhagavan Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya. See, this verse is important, so we are taking more time to comprehend it. And Bhagavan Shankaracharyaji has also written long commentary on it. So, he himself raises that question as an opponent, that Bhagavan has said that, oh, I will tell you about that Brahma. And then he says that na sattan na asad uchyate, nanu mahata parikara baddhena kantaravena udgushya neyam pravakshami iti ananurupam uktam na sat tad na asad uchyate iti. You said with so much this that I will tell you what is that neya, and then you said it cannot be said to exist, nor one can say that it doesn't exist. You see, this is not the way to indicate that Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, he replies to that objection. He says, कि no, this is the way it is indicated even in the Upanishads. न अनुरूपम एव उक्तम कथम सर्वासु ही उपनिषत्सु नेयम ब्रह्म नेति नेति अस्तूलम अणु इत्यादि विशेष प्रतिषेधेन एव निर्दिश्यते. In the Upanishad also that Brahma is indicated by negating all adjectives. See, even when that Brahma is indicated as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, it is, these words negate what is Asatyam, what is Jadam, and what is Parichinnam, means limited. Satyam means pure existence. It negates or removes all that is changing. To negate the changing existence, it is indicated as Satyam. To negate the Jada, inert, it is indicated as Jnanam. To negate all limitation, it is indicated as Anantam. So with this language of negation that Brahma is indicated, it's not gross, it is not subtle in this way. Because na idam tad iti vachaha agocharatvat. It cannot be indicated as it is like this, because it is not an object of our senses. See, if some object of our senses is there, we can tell about it. We can tell how long it is, how short it is, what is the color, all the qualities I can describe. But Brahma is not an object of the senses. And only one can think and talk about the objects of the senses. Even the mind, the intellect can talk about the objects of the senses. This world which is made up of the 5 objects, all our language is within these 5 objects only. We talk about it. We cannot, and those things we can show also. But there are certain even thoughts and emotions which cannot be shown. Suppose somebody say, oh, I am very sad. Okay, show me your sadness. You can't show. You can make a sad face, but that is not sadness, that is just a sad face. So there are even emotions, there are even some ideas and thoughts which cannot be shown. In the same way, but this Brahma is even subtler than that. It cannot be indicated like it is of this nature. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You cannot say that it is non-existent. Again the objector, he raises one more objection. He says, कि ननु न तद अस्ति यद वस्तु अस्ति शब्देन न उच्यते अथ अस्ति शब्देन न उच्यते न अस्ति तत् नेयम विप्रतिषिद्धम च नेयम तत् अस्ति शब्देन न उच्यते इति च. That object which cannot be indicated as existing, it must be not existing. So by saying that I will tell you about that neyam, and then saying that we cannot express it as existing, that is contradictory. That means it must not be existing. Brahma may not be there at all. Bhagavan says no. Na tavad na asti nasti buddhi avishayatvat. that it is not that it is not there, it is there, but it cannot be said to be existing, nor can it be said to be non-existing. Because only those objects which are seen through our senses, we can indicate them and say they exist. That is this quality. And even those things which are subtle can be indicated through words if they have some qualities in them. It's very interesting thing Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji writes कि उपपत्तेः च सदसदादि शब्दैः ब्रह्म न उच्यते इति. Even through logic we can understand that Brahma cannot be indicated as Sat or Asat, because whatever we indicated with words, sarvo hi shabda artha prakashanaya prayukta shruyamanaha cha shrotrubihi. All words which we utter, which you hear, should have some meaning and should be understood by the listener. If I say something, then that something should have some meaning, and that meaning should be understandable by you who are listening. If I just start saying something which doesn't have any meaning, some senseless sound if I take out, it will not convey anything. So if I want to convey something through words, it should have a meaning which you should understand. But Shankaracharya ji says that only those things which have these four properties can be conveyed through words. Very interesting. He says कि जाति क्रिया गुण संबंध द्वारेण संकेत ग्रहण सव्यपेक्षः अर्थम प्रत्याययति न अन्यथा अदृष्टत्वात्. That a thing can be conveyed if it has got some class, means it is of some type. So if you want to convey a being, let us say you want to talk about some being, then you classify first based on some type. You may say, oh, that bird, I want to talk about this bird. So when you say bird, then immediately I know that classification. Or nowadays we talk about this virus. In the beginning they did not know what is happening. People were getting sick. What is making them sick? Then they came to know that it is a virus. But there are hundreds of varieties of virus are there. Then they checked it in the microscope to isolate it, and they found out that it is of this type of virus, coronavirus. But coronavirus are also a variety of type. Then a particular that virus having these features. So it is separated and identified with lot of words and descriptions. So that's called through its class or jati. It's not a bacteria, it is not an animal, it is not a bird, it's not a human being, it is not some drug, it's a virus. That is one way of describing, communicating, indicating some object or thing. Then through its action, sometimes we can talk about something just through its action. What action it does, what type of expression it has. By describing it, we can convey that object. Like even this gravitation, we can't see gravitation. But we know that if an apple falls down, it breaks from the tree, it falls down. So we say that power which pulls that object down to the earth is called that gravitational force or power. So that through its action, that gravity is indicated. We cannot see gravity, but it can be indicated through its expression, through its action. Or one can indicate some object when it has got some quality, some property, some chemical property or physical property, some property, then it can be expressed. Certain things are so subtle, then they have to locate and find out the subtle property of that object. Even in the field of science, see, we were thinking the atom is the smallest, then they discovered that there are subatomic particles, and there are so many varieties of subatomic particles that they have that project, that Large Hadron Project or something, where they blast two atoms together so that they release lot of particles, and they study these subatomic particles. And they discovered a particle which they have named God particle also. So they discover it, they find out its nature, how does it behave, what is its physical property and all, and then it can be communicated. They can tell it to other scientists also, and they understand what this fellow is talking about. So through its guna, it's called, or through sambandha, through some relationship. If it has some relationship with some other object or some other thing, then through that relationship it can be indicated. By itself it may be very subtle, but if it is related to some other known object, then it can be indicated, it can be conveyed. But this Brahma is such that all these four things doesn't exist. Shankaracharya is right, ki natu Brahma jatimat. It is not of a particular class. Brahma is one without a second. It cannot be separated that it is of this class or this type. So it cannot be indicated talking about its type or class. Ataha na sad adi shabda vachyam. Therefore it cannot be conveyed that it is like this, it exists, it is of this way. Na api gunavat. Also that Brahma doesn't have any guna. There are no qualities, there is no physical quality, there is no chemical qualities, there is no other quality, there is no sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun. There are no qualities with which it can be said that it is small, it is big, or it is of this nature. Na api kriya shabdavachyam, nor can it be indicated by any kriya, because that Atma is nishkriyatvat. And this we can understand. This is not something which is vague, which is abstract. Whenever you have difficulty in understanding, meditate, contemplate on yourself when you are in deep sleep. Yourself as the deep sleeper, the Sushupta Atma, what color it has got, what length and breadth it has, what connection it has with the gross body, subtle body. No connection. There is no sambandha. Hmm. What jati it has got? No class, no type. What kriya? There is no activity happening there. There is no activity there. So there is no jati, there is no kriya, there is no guna, there is no sambandha with anything. Therefore, it cannot be indicated with words as it is of this type. But that doesn't mean that it is not existing, it is existing. So, the one thing we should understand that Brahma exists. It is experience as my own existence. But exactly what is its nature cannot be expressed. But it can be grasped, understood through its certain expressions, and following the path shown by the Shastra, we can experience it. Because it is not different from our own self. We can gain abidance in ourself as Brahma. We can experience it. Okay? So here Bhagavan in this verse has said that it is neither can be said as existing nor can it be said as non-existing. But that doesn't mean it is not existing. It cannot be said that it is like this or it is not like this. But that doesn't mean it is not existing. It exists. So how can we know that it exists? And what are its expression? If it is existing, can it be understood that it is existing? Bhagavan says yes. And very interesting, very beautiful verses are there, which we will study tomorrow. But this is a very subtle subject, and this is what we are sitting here to understand. This is what you are, this is what I am. The Kshetrajna as Brahma. And if you just surrender to these scriptures and follow the procedure of the scriptures, it will take us to that destination. It will take us to our destination. So with Shraddha in the teacher, with Shraddha in the Shastra, you listen, contemplate, and you will reach your goal. Okay? So more about this we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then you take care of yourself, because though I am not the body, but I need the body now to do my sadhana and recognize myself. So take care of your body. Be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy. Do your work, do your sadhana. Listen to this pravachan again. Because always we miss out something. And if we are busy typing and doing some other work, then we miss a lot of points. So listen to it again. Take down notes. Contemplate. And try to understand. Okay? And we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, बोलिए सिया रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।